the boy's heart suddenly stopped. He wasn't breathing anymore. The hospital rushed to save him, but just then, a doctor suddenly crushed the emergency medicine in his hand, and in that instant, time completely froze. Miraculously, the boy came back to life. The doctor explained he was a soul manager from heaven. Because Jim's soul drew the lucky ticket, he was allowed to possess someone else's body and return to the living world. But within 100 days, he has to find out the real cause of death for the body's original owner, Lin Jun. Only then can he be fully resurrected. The soul manager gave Jim a 100-day hourglass and told him he'd get 3 chances. If he can't answer what really killed Lin Jun, his soul will disappear forever. As soon as he finished, time started flowing again, and Jim woke up in Lin Jun's body. With zero memory of this life, Jim pretended to have amnesia, tricking Lin Jun's brother and mom. When it was time to leave the hospital, Jim carefully asked his mom, "Why did I end up in the—" His mom suddenly got nervous. She quickly said he just caught a cold and it turned into a lung infection. That's why he fell into a coma. Her answer made Jim suspicious. He was convinced Lin Jun's death had something to do with his mom. But right at that moment, time froze again. The soul manager possessed the driver and asked Jim his first question. Jim guessed. There's no way Lin Jun just died from being sick, so he decided not to answer. The soul manager smiled, and time started moving again. Back at home, Jim started noticing the family wasn't very close. Even though their son was in the hospital, Lin Jun's dad never came home. He was always on a business trip, and his brother seemed to hate Lin Jun. When Jim came home, his brother just gave him a dirty look. Even weirder was Lin Jun's mom. When Jim offered to help her cook, she looked totally shocked. All these red flags made Jim wonder, maybe everyone in the family knows the real cause of death. So late that night, after everyone fell asleep, Jim started searching the house. First, he found a family photo. Strangely, Lin Jun wasn't in a single picture. Then he found some broken paintbrushes in a drawer, and in Lin Jun's room, there was a giant blood stain.
お前がそこで倒れてたんだよ。でもただの風邪でこんな。
His brother refused to explain anything and roughly kicked Jim out of the room. The next day, Jim decided to look for clues at school. But before he could leave, the girl classmate came over. She greeted him with real excitement. On the way to school, Jim found out from Xiao Jin that she'd been best friends with Lin Jun since they were kids. Once in the classroom, Jim tried to say hi to everyone, but all he got was cold shoulders. That's when he realized Lin Jun didn't get along with anyone in school. He took his lunch to the rooftop to eat alone, but ran into a beautiful upperclassman. Even though Jim had never met her, his heart started pounding like crazy. He guessed Lin Jun must have had a crush on her, so he pretended they were old friends and started chatting. Through their conversation, he found out Lin Jun was really talented at drawing, and this upperclassman had been his model. She asked him to help her pick out a gift. Jim agreed right away. She was surprised by how eager he was. Jim blushed, and from a distance, Ellie saw the whole thing.